welcome to Reddit Ranters. Today we have a slightly more serious video where I start my series where I read stories off the Ask Reddit forum Let's Not Meet. I'll be doing one or two an episode and this is the first one. So this happened about 8 or 9 years ago when I was around 10 years old. My family and I moved to the murder capital of Canada at the time, always a smart choice. I was just an average looking young girl going to the elementary school that happened to be attached to my backyard via field. Since I lived in the same area, I often went exploring the streets goofing around. Although it's the murder capital, I never really felt unsafe in my neighbourhood until this happened. So during my lunch hour at school, my friends and I usually stayed at school or went to my friend's house to play The Sims. On this day, during lunch hour, I was walking back to school with two of my male friends. That specific day we had decided to walk to the strip mall in the neighbourhood over to go to McDonald's. It was only a 15-minute walk away, and half of it was on a very public road, so I wasn't too scared to walk there. On our way, we were only maybe 2 blocks away from school, when I noticed a really old, worn-out looking brown van driving in our direction. This van looked like it drove straight out of the 70s, but I did not think anything of it. As the brown van got closer, I expected it to just drive by like any other car, but I kept my eye on it because even as a kid, strange old vans are incredibly creepy. The van is about to pass us and I start to feel more comfortable, but instead of driving past us, the second the brown van reached us, the driver slammed on the brakes and it came to an instant stop. The streets were usually dead at that time of day. I looked at the van for a split second and was fairly certain I could see that there were at least 3 guys inside. Major red flag alert. I instantly realised I need to get out of there. So me, being the only smart one within our trio, obviously doubled my pace so I could get away from the van. 2 male friends, for some reason which I will never understand, didn't find it creepy and stayed behind at the speed they were walking. That's when the driver backs up to exactly where I was, which was about 2 feet ahead at that point. I refused to look at the van that time. My nerves wouldn't let me. My fight or flight moment was long gone and I chose flight. I'm hoping that somehow, some way the fact that they back up wasn't because I walked ahead, but I hear the driving out there. How much for one night? I didn't exactly understand what it meant at the time, but it didn't sound good. As soon as he says this, I can hear a noise coming from the van. I force myself to look over and I clearly see that someone is trying to open the sliding door of the van from the inside. Within half a second of hearing the click of the door starting to open, I began sprinting to my friend's house, which thankfully was in sight from where we were. Thankfully, my 2 male friends smartened up and started running too. I never once looked back, but after a few seconds I could hear the tyres of the van speeding away. Once we got to my friend's house after running inside, one of my friends told me as the door started opening, one of the men seemed to fit in with something that looked like a gun. I tried to calm myself down by telling myself it was just some sick prank, that it was probably just a BB gun or something along those lines. I didn't want to worry anyone by saying that could have been easily a sick joke, so I didn't tell anyone when I got back to school. Fast forward to later that afternoon, sitting in the computer lab, a classmate of mine comes in saying that some guys had tried to abduct her during lunch hour in a brown van, but she'd ran off before they could. She'd been walking from the direction I saw the van speed off in. There was no way it wasn't the same van. I freaked out and told her what had happened to me in the next day in my lunch hour. Next thing I know, I'm being dragged into the office by the principal where there are policemen and women waiting for me. I spent the rest of the school day being questioned by police about the incident because they were opening a case on the matter. I never did find out what happened with the case, or if the same thing happened to any other young girls. It's definitely possible that it could have been a sick joke that these guys took too far, but either way, I'd never been so scared in my life. Let's not meet again.